Hey everybody, this is Jason. I'm the bald guy you see running around there in the background trying to figure out how to build an airplane. I'm doing something a little bit different with this video and adding a voiceover just as an attempt to capture my thoughts and kind of think about all the lessons that I've learned along the way and share those out with anybody who happens to watch my videos. What I'm working on right now is the vertical stabilizer. That's the vertical tail feather, basically, of the airplane. Specifically, this is section 6-6 of the RV10, which is where you actually start riveting the skin onto the skeleton. The first step, of course, to doing that is to cleco the skin in place to get it bent around the skeleton and all the holes aligned, which is what you see me doing right here. So one of the interesting things that I've learned about this is the skin almost looks like it's not going to fit when you first start attaching it. So you start attaching the clecos and then one by one the holes start to line up. And as you go along, each hole kind of pulls the next hole into alignment and you're able to get things with a little bit of persuasion to go into place. Right about this point, I realize that something's amiss. I'm trying to cleco the bottom rib into place, and things just aren't quite lining up correctly. So I pull all the clecos out and try to start from the bottom at that nose of that bottom rib and work my way up. And so that's what you'll see me start doing right here. As I get to the top rib, I'm seeing again that things aren't falling into place. And it's about this time that I realize that there must be a bigger problem. So I pull all of the clecos once again and start looking at what is going on. Is there something that's just not sitting right? And you'll see I'm staring at it, and finally I decide, hey, let's go look at the plans. And when I look at the plans, it becomes apparent that I have attached the top rib upside down. So I get my first experience drilling out rivets. To be clear, this was totally my fault. The plans are super clear that this is supposed to be attached the other way. I just got a little ahead of myself and decided that I was going to rivet it upside down. Lesson learned. Pay attention to the plans. Don't just attach it how you think it's going to go. In the end, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a few drilled out rivets, but definitely one of those boneheaded moves where you wonder, how in the heck did I do that? And so once I get all of the rivets drilled out, I put the thing the right way and grab the pneumatic squeezer and the correct rivets and get things back riveted in place. By the way, the pneumatic squeezer, definitely a get. At least so far with the riveting that I've done, it's been super nice to have the pneumatic squeezer. It basically sets a perfect rivet every single time. I've done a little bit of practicing with the rivet gun and bucking bar, and obviously that's something that you're going to have to get good at. There's a lot of riveting that just has to be done with the rivet gun and the bucking bar. But anywhere that I can use the pneumatic squeezer, I definitely do, because it just, right now at least, results in a better quality rivet. So now that I've got things set up correctly, I go back to clecoing the skin in place, and surprise, surprise, things just fall into line. which is really, really nice. I was starting to get frustrated. Another one of those nice to have tools is the pneumatic cleco tool. Now this doesn't work for everything, and actually it doesn't even work all the time. I'm not quite sure why. But it definitely saves your hands from getting really, really tired using those manual cleco pliers. So not really necessary, but kind of a nice to have. So once you get one side done, you flip it over and you do it again. With the second side, I've actually found that the easiest thing to do is to start at the nose and work my way towards the back. Otherwise, the back doesn't really want to line up very well or stretch over the skeleton. But once you get those first few clecos in place, things fall down pretty quickly. And so you'll see that the second half of this goes a lot faster, and in no time at all, I'm done with the clecoing. So once everything's clecoed in place, the plans have you remove the bottom rib in order to get access to the middle ribs for riveting. And so you pull all the clecos out and then flip it over and pull all the clecos out of the other side. Now here I actually went ahead and made some marks on the skin itself, or on the vinyl covering over the skin, for where there's different rivets. So there's a really good diagram that shows you exactly what rivets go where. And there's only a couple of places where the rivets change, so I went ahead and made marks on the side of the skin to remind me where those were. Then I finish removing the bottom rib and actually go about driving my first rivet. Now, I made a bit of a mistake here. The plans are actually really clear and specific to attach certain pieces at certain times, and I didn't pay close enough attention and thought that I was going to save myself some trouble by attaching the rivets that were different first. That ended up being a mistake. It didn't hurt me too bad, but it did cause me to have to drill out a few rivets in order to have access to some of the inner pieces. Right about here is where I start to realize my mistake. I start pulling clecos to figure out how I'm going to access the front spar, and realize that no matter how many clecos I pull, I can't fit my arm in there to access that middle spar. So I go and look at the plans and realize, oh no, I've put too many rivets in that top rib. You're only supposed to go for the rivets that are forward of that front spar, and I've done all of them. So I get more practice drilling out rivets. Oh boy. It didn't end up being too big of a deal. I think there were only like 5 or 6 rivets that I had to drill out. So no big deal, but definitely another one of those boneheaded moves. So at this point, I decide it's getting kind of late. I'm obviously not paying close enough attention because I've made a couple of mistakes pretty close together. So I'm just going to get things clecoed into place, and I'm going to call it a night. And so that's where this video ends. Hey, I really appreciate everybody watching. Obviously, I'm really new at this, so if anybody has any suggestions on how to make these videos better, let me know down in the comments below. Until next time, keep on building.